Billionaire's Love. Chapter 1, Samantha Julie. It was a beautiful morning, with the bright sunlight peeping through the sheer velvet curtains. The chirping birds were clearly heard in the bedroom through the balcony. A girl was laying on the bed. Her peerless beauty was adorned by her strawberry blonde hair, which suited her pale skin. Her ears were tender and small, like a tiny tot, and her tinted lips like the finest art of the world. An unusual irritation was seen on her forehead, which let some drops of sweat to escape. Seemed like she was having a nightmare. No one knew about her nightmares, except her sister who she loved dearly, and her two best friends. The girl clutched her comforter tightly, as if her life depends on it, and shouted, "Oh please. Stop." The girl shouted aloud, waking up in fear, which was clearly visible in her beautiful brown eyes. She took a deep breath, wiped off the sweat from her forehead hurriedly with the back of her palm. She opened the lower drawer of her bedside table, taking out a small box. She opened it and took out a pill from the box. She grabbed a glass of water, which was on her table beside her, and gulped down the pill. Sighing, she closed her eyes and put her head on the headrest, trying to make her breathing stable. Just then, her phone went off. She grabbed her phone, which was on the table, and saw the name on the phone screen. She sat straight, calming herself, and answered the call. "Oh, hello." Samantha answered in a shrilled voice. "Hello, Sam. You okay?" Her younger sister, Alexi, asked.
Yeah.
"Yes. I am good, Alexi." Samantha stuttered and answered back, trying to hide her fear. "No. You aren't. You got that nightmare again." "I am coming right now," Alexi said, and her worrying tone became apparent. "No, Lexi. I am really good. By the way, where are you now?" Samantha asked as she got up from the bed and started walking towards the balcony. "I was at the gym, but Mom told me to grab some groceries before coming home. So, now I am at the grocery store. I have been trying to call her for the past 15 minutes, but she isn't answering. So, I thought why not call you, as you would be up by now." Alexi answered, fading away the tension, and Samantha laughed. "Why do you hate grocery shopping, Lexi?" Samantha asked as she opened the door of the balcony, letting the cool breeze refresh her skin. As soon as the door opened, a shiver ran down her body, and she took a big breath, smelling the freshness of the beautiful morning. "You know, I only love shopping for clothes and my makeup. Groceries aren't my thing. Like Jesus. I'm a fucking A-lister of Hollywood, for crying out loud. Why should I do all this?" Alexi cried her rants on phone. "Because Mom told you to do it," Samantha answered with a chuckle. "Yeah, because of her, whom I love the most in the whole world, I need to do this all." Alexi replied on the phone irritatedly. "Shut up, and call Dad. They are both sitting in the garden." Samantha answered while looking at her parents, who were talking with each other in the garden.
Yeah.
"But are you okay?" Alexi was still worried. "Yes, Alexi. I am good. Don't worry. Just do the shopping and come home." Samantha replied in a lighter tone.
Yeah.
"See you," Alexi replied. "See you, Lexi," Samantha replied back and ended the call. Samantha looked at her parents, who are laughing at something. This was the scene that I always dreamt about to come true, and finally it did. Dad, Mom, Alexi, and me, a perfect family indulged with only happiness in our lives. But Samantha stopped mid-sentence. "But I guess there wouldn't be any happiness in my part of life." Samantha completed her sentence with a sad tone, as a drop of tear escaped from her eyes, but she wiped it as soon as the tear fell down from her eye. She sighed and walked into her room, leaving her phone on her table. She made her bed and walked into the restroom, getting under the shower. After taking her relaxing shower, she put on her fluffy robe, dried her hair and applied the moisturizer on her body. Then, walked out of the restroom, and walked into her walk-in closet. Samantha grabbed an expensive black suit and wore it, matching it with a 4-inch high heel. She put on some light makeup and curled up her hair. Then, she grabbed her black bag and walked out of the walk-in closet. Samantha grabbed her phone, wallet, and kept them in her bag as she walked out of her room. As soon as Samantha went downstairs, she saw her dad, Liam, sitting on the living room couch. She gave him a big smile walking towards him and then planted a kiss on her dad's cheek. "Good morning, Dad." "Good morning, my beautiful daughter," Liam greeted back with a big smile as he kissed Samantha's forehead.
Ah.
She loved to see that smile on his face. With no tension on his face. She and her sister went through a lot to make him like that. If someone asked the sisters if they would go through all that happened in their past again to make their parents happy, then they would happily do and go through all that past. Liam was happy to see his eldest daughter Samantha ready to go to work. Not any 9-to-5 office job. She owned a chain of hotels. Not any normal hotels. She owned the Caffeine by Maxi Hotels and Resorts. This hotel chain was now taking the hotel business by storm with hotels all over the world, available for every type of family. And there was his other daughter Alexi Julie, who was a model and actress. She already has impressed the whole world with her amazing acting skills and her beauty. But Liam hated seeing those stalkers who never stopped looking at his little girl. But, he was proud to say that he was their father. While smiling at Samantha, he looked at the front door, and there stood his little devil. He got an urge to tease her and hugged Samantha. "That's it. Is she your only beloved daughter? Am I not your daughter?" Alexi yelled, getting jealous standing at the front door. "Oh my. You are my beautiful daughter too, come here." Liam replied with a chuckle as he opened his arms widely for her to hug him. Alexi came running towards him and hugged him tightly, and he kissed her forehead while Samantha growled, looking at Alexi. "What?" Alexi asked her teasingly. "You're such a drama queen." Samantha got irritated, and Alexi stuck her tongue out at Samantha, and Liam laughed out loud. "Now go, and take a shower. You smell." Samantha yelled at her. "You're jealous. Aren't you?" Alexi asked, knowing that Samantha would get irritated. "Why would I be jealous?" "Because I am getting a kiss from Dad, but you are not," Alexi went on her teasing note. "He is my dad too. I can get a kiss from him anytime I want." Samantha replied. "No you can't," Alexi said as she flips her hair dramatically. "You little devil," Samantha murmured at her act. "Girls, don't start it now, please," Mr. Liam interfered with their childish war. "Dad, she started it," Samantha complained to Liam. "No, Dad. You saw it right? She started it first." Alexi replied with her best puppy eyes. "Don't show those puppy eyes. No one is going to fall for that here," Samantha said and sat on the couch, grabbing the newspaper. She started reading it, and Alexi scoffed jokingly. "Good morning, my babies," Cassandra said with her charming tone as she walked out of the kitchen and kissed Samantha's forehead. "Good morning, Mom," Samantha replied back with a big smile. "Mom, where is my kiss?" Alexi in a complaining tone. "You are smelly. Go and take a shower first." Cassandra scoffed at her, and Samantha and Liam laughed out loud. "You?" Alexi growled at Samantha. "What me? I already told you, you're smelly," Samantha said as she controlled her laughter. "What's going on here?" Cassandra asked.
Ah.
"Go away, everyone. I hate you all," Alexi shouted. "But, we all love you," Samantha replied, but Alexi growled and went upstairs. "This girl will remain a child forever," Cassandra smirked. "It's okay, Mom," Samantha replied and Cassandra nodded. "Come on, let's have some breakfast," Cassandra said. "Let Alexi come down, Mom. Then, we will have it together." Samantha replied and Cassandra nodded. "Okay, I will make coffee for you," Cassandra said and went to the kitchen. Samantha continued reading the newspaper. That's when she saw an article about the one billionaire in the world, and a world-famous interior designer, Johnson Davis. Chapter 2, Julie House. Samantha continued reading the newspaper, and that's when she saw the article of the one billionaire in the world and the world-famous interior designer, Johnson Davis. "Why are you looking at the newspaper so keenly, Samantha?" Liam inquired, as he looked at his daughter frowning. "Nothing, Dad. Just reading an article about Johnson Davis," Samantha said and continued reading. "Johnson Davis?" Liam asked in a curious tone.
Yeah.
"Yesterday he received an award for Best Interior Designing Company," Samantha replied. "Oh, okay," Mr. Liam said. "Samantha, your coffee," a 40-years-old maid offered the coffee to Samantha. "Thank you, Carrie," Sam said as she smiled at the maid, and the maid smiled back at Samantha and then walked back to the kitchen. "Samantha, I don't understand. Why do you read newspapers? I mean, you have an iPad and everything. Why don't you just browse it?" Liam asked with curiosity. Liam knew his daughter very well. She has been fond of reading books since her childhood. He still remembered when she would steal his books to read. She liked to read all kinds of books, she was a bookworm. And on the other side, Alexei hated books or anything paper-backed. "Dad, I just feel good reading it. I don't feel satisfied reading news on an electronic device," Sam exclaimed, and Liam nodded his head. Liam had some other questions he wanted to ask his daughter, but he knew what his daughter would reply with. He cursed himself every day for bringing this day to his daughters. He wanted his daughters to be happy in their lives, and he knew very well that they were not happy in actuality. It was his fatherly instinct that told him that his daughters were keeping secrets from him, but he didn't want them to tell him by force. His daughters were working hard from a very young age. His daughters didn't have a happy childhood. Where children at their age went to parties, his daughters went to work. He wanted to give them a normal childhood like every parent wants to give his children, but he just gave them tears and nothing else. He always felt guilty and ashamed in front of his daughters because he didn't make his daughters happy but made them work from a very young age, just because of his helplessness. But his daughters were raised to high positions like queens, because of their difficulties in their past, and he was proud of them. And his daughter, Samantha, was happy with everything that he gave them. They were proud of their dad, and that he made them strong enough to face any problem which comes in front of them without any fear. Both girls didn't ever make their parents feel low in front of anyone. They made their parents feel proud of them. The girls went through a lot since their childhood. Samantha was just 16 and Alexei was only 14 when they started working for their family. For the family which no one believed and trusted that they could lead a life. But the girls stood strong for their parents and showed the world what they were in actuality. Not even one of their relatives believed this family and said many hurtful things, which broke the hearts of the innocent girls. From then onwards, the girls stopped trusting people, and they hated two-faced people. They had trust issues, but there were some people in the world whom they trusted more than their relatives. "Dad," called Samantha. "Yes, sweetheart," Liam replied. "That's the past, Dad. Don't think about it," Samantha said with teary eyes. Samantha knew what her father was thinking this time. "How can I not, sweetie?" Liam asked. But Alexei interrupted their sad thoughts. "I am back, Mom, and I want some food," Alexei yelled as she ran downstairs from the stairs. "Girl, don't yell," Samantha scoffed, but Alexei ignored it and walked inside the kitchen and smiled at the maid on her way, and the maid smiled back to her. "Mom, I am hungry," said Alexei as she walked inside the kitchen and wrapped her arms around her mom. "Okay, call Samantha and your dad to the dining room," Cassandra said. "Okay," Alexei said and walked out of the kitchen. "Breakfast is going to be served soon, come fast," Alexei informed them in a rough tone and walked to the dining room. Samantha and Liam laughed at her cute angriness and walked towards the dining room. "What happened, Lexi? Why are you looking annoyed?" Cassandra asked. "Your elder daughter is irritating me," Alexei complained. "Oh, what did I do?" Sam asked with lighter nerves. "Don't act smart," Alexei growled. Okay, fine. I'm sorry. Sam said and kissed Lexi's forehead. It's fine. Alexi winked with a smile. Alexi couldn't remain angry with her family for a long time because she loved her family more. She started working for the family at the tender age of 14. Yes, there were struggles in life, but she buried them deep down in her heart. No one knew about it, not even her sister, and she wanted to keep it that way. Her sister was her biggest support. They both used to work day and night to bring the money home. There were days in their life where they didn't have a penny. They used to bring home some fruits and ate them and went to sleep with a hungry stomach. Samantha had a past like Alexi. They shared every secret, but there were certain things about Alexi which Samantha didn't know about. Alexi didn't want her family to get worried about her. The things that happened in Alexi's life made her stop trusting people in her life. She hated the people who showed fake love. Both girls had seen so many people who backstabbed them. But the family was strong and stood with each other always. And made the Julie empire. Cassandra was happy for her daughters, but a little sad too, because they would not think about settling down. Cassandra wanted Samantha and Alexi to date someone, but both girls hated dating and marriage. Yes, they didn't have a good opinion on love, but she wanted them to find the love of their life. Her daughters did everything to keep her and Liam happy. Her daughters stood with them in their struggle but didn't even think to leave them. Cassandra and Liam were proud of their daughters, but they wanted them to find the love of their lives and marry someone and be happy in their lives. But the thing was, these sisters weren't ready to date or marry anyone. Thank you for watching Billionaire's Love on the Best Anime Series channel. Please like and subscribe to watch the next videos. Chapter 3 Alexi Julie. Are you going to the studio, Alexi? Sam asked. Yup, I have a photo shoot today, Alexi replied. Sam nodded. Okay, Mom. I am off to the hotel now. Sam said as she got up from her chair.
Yeah.
Take care, and don't forget to have your lunch, Cassandra said in her usual note. Yes, Mom, Sam replied in an annoyed tone and kissed everyone's cheeks, got her bag and car keys. She walked out of the house, got in her black Bugatti Chiron, and drove off to work. This girl is becoming a workaholic day by day, Cassandra exclaimed in a worrying tone. True, we need to do something about it, so that she can take a break from her hectic schedule, Liam replied using the same tone. That's never gonna happen, Dad, Alexi said, as she put a fork full of waffles in her mouth. Why? Liam asked curiously. We all know her, she can't leave a single day without her work, Alexi said, as she drank her orange juice.
Yeah.
But... Cassandra was going to say something but Alexi got up from her chair. Mom, Dad please let her do what she likes, Alexi defended. So you gonna support her anyway? Liam asked in a serious tone. Of course, if you are going to talk about it then I'm going to support her, Alexi replied. Alexi, we are getting old. Alexi cut off Cassandra in mid-sentence and said, Please, Mom. Not this again. I am going to my room. Alexi said and started walking out of the dining room. You said you have a photo shoot, aren't you going to the studio? Cassandra asked in a doubtful tone. I have 2 hours until I have to go, Alexi exclaimed. Lexi, you're going to play that video game again. Cassandra scoffed at Alexi. Mom. Seriously. I didn't play that game for a whole weekend, and I still have a lot of time until I need to be at the studio. Don't worry. I am just gonna play for an hour and then I'll get ready. Alexi went on ranting. You have totally gotten addicted to those games, Lexi, Liam said in a hopeless tone. Dad. Come on. You know I love to play games and you shouldn't blame me for that. Alexi told her parents in an annoyed tone.
Yeah.
I know. Liam teased her with a doubtful smile. Liam totally agreed with Alex because he was the one who got Alexi addicted to video games. When Alexi was 10 years old, her father taught her how to play them. She was curious about every single thing and asked too many questions, so naturally asked about the video games and slowly got addicted. She once asked, "Dad, why do only boys play video games, and not girls?" Liam said, "No baby, not only boys but girls too can play video games. Come on. I will show you how to play video games." Liam said and taught Alexi how to play them. And now Alexi loved to play them. Whenever she got some free time, she played games. Sam was the least interested in them. Whenever she got some time, she would bury her head in a book and Alexi on the TV or playing video games. Cassandra stared at Alexi and Liam with an annoyed look and went into the kitchen murmuring. Alexi and Liam laughed at her. Liam went to the living room and Alexi headed to her room. She took out her gaming laptop lying on her coffee table and started playing her favorite video game Jotun Racing, which was created by the one and only Martin Davis. Martin Davis was the biggest playboy in America, and one of the most well-known eligible bachelors in New York, and a self-made billionaire. Alexi didn't meet Martin personally, but she spotted him at some gatherings, and she stalked his social media and always thought, he is hot. Every girl would throw themselves at him, not Alexi though. Alexi was conscious of her image. She had her own identity in the glamour world and didn't need to do such cheap acts like those girls. She was aware of his attitude. He used his girls like a tissue. He was a spoiled brat. He didn't give a fuck about anyone. Alexi was a big fan of his video games. Surprisingly, she had a crush on him, but no one knew it, not even her sister. After 40 minutes of gaming, she closed her laptop and walked into her walk-in closet. Alexi took out a pair of blue jeans and a white tank top and put them on. She did a little touch-up and kept her hair open. Her blonde hair, blue-green eyes, and whiter cheeks adorned her round face, which made Alexi look like a goddess. Alexi looked glamorous with makeup, but she was naturally beautiful to the extent that makeup just could barely enhance the beauty she was already born with. Alexi grabbed her 5-inch black boots and wore them. She looked and kissed herself in the mirror before going to her work. She loved herself and admired her reflection every day in the mirror. "You are beautiful, Alexi Julie. Come on, let's kick some ass." Alexi told herself in the mirror and took her bag and walked out of her walk-in closet. She put her phone and wallet in her bag and walked out of her room to join her parents downstairs. Alexi saw her dad and mom busy with their mobile phones. She went to them and kissed her dad's and mom's cheek.
Bye.
"Mom."
Bye.
"Dad. I am going to the photo shoot. I will be home around 7 or 8 p.m. Don't wait for me and have your dinner," Alexi said.
Bye.
"Baby, and don't forget to have your lunch, unlike your sister, okay?" Cassandra said. "Okay, Mom," Alexi replied.
Bye.
"Sweetheart," Liam said, and Alexi waved at them with a big smile. She grabbed her car keys from the table, walked out of the house. She went into the garage, got into her Lycan, and drove off to her studio. Chapter 4, Caffeine by Amaxi Hotels. Samantha stopped her car in front of the Amaxi Hotel's headquarters, grabbed her bag, opened the car door, and got out of the car. While the valet took her car for parking, her PA, CFO with the 3 managers of different departments, and the head manager of the hotel walked to her immediately and wished her good morning. "Good morning, let's talk about today's schedule while walking around the hotel," Sam said in a professional tone, and they all gulped down with fear. "Yes, Ms. Julie," the head manager said. Samantha handed her bag to her PA at Quincy and took the file from her. She started walking around the garden, and everyone followed her. Only a few important people in the hotel knew about Samantha's identity. Other than them, no one in the world knew who she was or who was the actual founder and owner of Amaxi Hotels and Resorts. The name Amaxi was inherited from the names of Samantha and Alexi. The first 3 letters of Amaxi were taken from Samantha and the last 2 letters from Alexi. Amaxi Hotels and Resorts are famous and popular worldwide, which is why every celebrity wants to visit Amaxi, for its grandeur and high-level security around the hotels. Not even a single paparazzi could enter Amaxi. Amaxi was among the top hotels in the world. They also come under the world's longest chain of hotels. Samantha worked so hard to bring Amaxi to this position. Not only Amaxi was famous for enjoying the top view of New York, but also for its special gesture, which no hotels ever did, till that date. Amaxi believed in equality and served every class of society. Whether they were rich, poor, or belonged to a middle-class profession, it didn't matter to them. Though a poverty-stricken family and the middle-class people couldn't afford hotels like Amaxi. For them, Amaxi directly sent an invitation to 5 such families each day for dinner in their hotel for free of cost. The families who were invited by Amaxi got a special luxurious restaurant in the main branch, which was only reserved for them. Samantha suffered a lot at her tender age. When she was a kid, she dreamt of going to big hotels with her family. Unfortunately, they couldn't afford them at that time. For this reason, Sam wanted to fulfill the dreams of people who were still struggling to live a life. So? Sam interrogated while looking around the garden. About the food and beverage team, Ms. Julie asked one of the directors, and Samantha nodded her head to continue. There would be a party in one of our banquet halls. The food and beverage team director reported. So? Sam asked. This party is on behalf of Johnson Davis. He requested you to join the party. The director said. You know, I wouldn't accept any invitation and can't attend any? Sam asked. Yes, but... Samantha cut off in mid-sentence by showing him her hand to stop. I find it of no need to attend this party. Next. Samantha gave her decision in a bossy tone. Okay, Ms. Julie. The director agreed to her decision. About the new construction proposal. Another director asked for his turn indirectly. Continue. Samantha allowed him as she looked around the hotel. There is an updated proposal regarding the construction of a new resort in Italy. The director continued while handing over a file to Samantha, and she went through the file. The site was the same as it was in the proposal we had reviewed in the previous presentation. The director informed her, and Sam nodded. We went through the papers, and certainly we wouldn't have any problems for that particular site. The director essay. Look into it more, Samantha ordered, as she handed the file back to the director. Okay, Ms. Julie. Financial department, it's regarding the bank, right? Samantha queried about the next thing. Yes, Ms. Julie. It's regarding a bank. The CFO answered. Samantha allowed him to continue regarding this matter. Yes, Ms. Julie. There is a bank, which is proposing to give us loans at a lower interest rate. The CFO informed her as he handed her the file, and they all walked into the elevator. Samantha checked the file briefly. But, he wants to meet you first. Do I have to meet him? Samantha asked. It's good for us, as well for the hotel if you meet him once. The CFO gave her the suggestion. Samantha looked at him while nodding her head. Schedule a meeting with them, Samantha asked her PA, Quincy. Sure, Ms. Julie, Quincy said and noted down. Mail me this month's accounts, Samantha asked the CFO. Okay, Ms. Julie. The CFO agreed immediately. Has the CEO arrived yet? Samantha asked Quincy. Yes, Ms. Julie. He is in his cabin. Should I ask him to come to your office? Quincy asked. No, I would go to his office, Samantha replied. Okay, Ms. Julie, Quincy said. The elevator door opened on the 45th floor, and Samantha got out of the elevator and walked towards the CEO's office. Samantha knocked on the door, and a very deep and shrilled masculine voice came from inside, Come in. Samantha opened the door and walked inside. Good morning, Mr. CEO. I hope I am not disturbing you? Samantha asked in a professional tone. The person behind the desk looked up at her, got up from the chair and walked around, and leaned on the desk. Of course, not Ms. Julie. By the way, good morning. The person said with the same professional tone. Samantha laughed and walked towards him. She hugged him, and he hugged her back. Hello, Noah, Samantha wished him with a warm smile. Hello, sweetheart, Noah said as he kissed her forehead. You feeling good today? Noah asked. Yes, quite good, Sam said and smiled. Good to hear, Noah smiled back. Noah was like an elder brother to Samantha and Alexi. Noah was one of those people on whom Samantha and Alexi could trust on. Samantha and Noah shared a beautiful bro-sis bonding. They helped each other in their hard times and now were successful in their respective lives. Chapter 5, Johnson Davis. The man in his workout clothes was continuing his daily workout and was looking damn sexy. The dripping sweat from the masculine curves of his body was making him look even more sexier and hot. His muscles were bulging out while he was working out. Excuse me, Mr. Davis. Johnson looked up and saw his maid holding his coffee. He stopped his workout. He grabbed a towel and wiped out his sweat and took his coffee. The maid walked out of the gym. He walked towards the balcony, sat on the couch, and started sipping his hot coffee slowly. Johnson Davis. His name was enough to make a person flinch. Johnson Davis couldn't be explained by mere words. He had a dominating personality with a beautiful heart. But his dominancy was limited to his business. Johnson Davis was the youngest billionaire and the most eligible bachelor in that era. Johnson was not a playboy, but he had his own fair share of girls. Johnson Davis was a child of third generation of the Davis family, and he took over the Davis interior design company of his dad when he was 23. It was so hard for Johnson to bring the company to the top position. Though when he took over, the company was already among the top 10 companies. Johnson's only dream was to date a nice, beautiful, and independent girl. And marry her, leading his love life till eternity. Johnson was sipping his coffee when his phone went off. He grabbed the phone from the coffee table and saw his best friend's name, Lucas, on the screen. He answered the call immediately and heard a loud voice on the other side. Congratulations! Man, Lucas shouted on the phone.
Ah.
Don't shout, Lucas, Johnson chuckled. Man, you got an award last night. Congratulations, his excitement was touching its peak. Thank you. And now tell me, where are you? Johnson asked him eagerly. I came back from California and just got home. Mom and Dad told me about your award thing. Bloody bastard, you didn't even tell me. Lucas ranted with his fake angriness. You finished your work so early? Johnson asked him, ignoring his endless rant. Yes, but answer my question first.
Yeah.
I don't think this was a big achievement for me. That's why I didn't tell you. Johnson replied reluctantly. Dude, you got an award of freaking best interior designer company in the world. Lucas was disturbed by his reluctant behavior.
Yeah.
That award was for the company. Not me. But it was your hard work, Johnson, Lucas replied to his unambiguous statement. Every person's hard work, who worked for this company, was counted equally. Johnson replied, and Lucas sighed. Okay. But dude, I want a party. I knew you would ask something like this. So.
Yeah.
I am hosting a party tomorrow evening at Caffeine by Amaxi Hotels. Then there would be hot chicks in that party, right? Lucas threw these words in an intoxicated tone. Ouch. Lucas said again before Johnson replied. What happened? Johnson asked in a worried tone. Mom. Yelled Lucas on the phone, and Johnson chuckled. What mom? Didn't I tell you not to utter these things in my house? If you want to, then get the hell out of my house first. Johnson heard Lucas's mom yelling at Lucas and Johnson laughed aloud on the phone. Shut up, man, don't laugh.
Yeah.
Johnson said while controlling his laughter, but burst out in laughter again, and Lucas groaned. Go to hell.
Bye.
Lucas ended the call before Johnson could say anything. Crazy fellow. Johnson tittered. He got up from the couch and walked out of the gym and went to his room. Johnson Davis and Lucas Anderson were best friends from their kindergarten. Their fathers were best friends too. So, they all were like a family. Andersons were rich too, just like Davis. They owned airlines, and Lucas was the CEO of Andy Airlines. Johnson and Lucas shared every secret between them. They were like brothers. Johnson walked into his room and went for a shower. After taking a shower, he grabbed his towel and wrapped it around his waist. He walked out of the restroom and went into his walk-in closet. He took out a white shirt with a black suit and pants and wore them. They suit him perfectly, defining his sexy muscles. Johnson was a guy of 6 feet 3 inches, with six-packs, brown hair, and blue eyes. Undoubtedly, he was the handsome hunk that every girl dreams of. Johnson walked out of his closet after he wore his shoes and set his hair neatly with a gel. He walked towards the table to grab his phone and wallet. Just then he saw his mom's photo on the table. He took a deep breath and took his mom's photo into his hands, and kissed on that photo. "I miss you, Mom. I miss you so much. I hope you are proud of me," Johnson whispered to his mom in the photo, with his teary eyes. Johnson's mom Cynthia died when he was just 12 years old. She was a very kind and beautiful person. Johnson kept the photo back in the cabinet, and grabbed his phone and wallet and walked out of his room and went downstairs. Johnson was coming down the stairs when he saw his dad and stepmom sitting on the living room couch. Robert Davis and Jessica Davis, Johnson's dad and stepmom. Johnson was the firstborn son of Robert Davis and Cynthia Davis, and Martin Davis was the secondborn son of Robert Davis and Jessica Davis. Johnson saw them both having their coffee and laughing at something. Jessica saw Johnson coming downstairs. She kept her coffee on the table and got up from the couch and gave a smile to Johnson, and he chuckled. Robert turned back and saw his son, Johnson, who was all ready to beat his day. Robert and Jessica were happy that he got an award last night. Jessica didn't ever saw Johnson as his stepson. She was a good mom and got a beautiful heart. "Good morning, son," Robert welcomed him with a big smile. But Johnson walked downstairs with a cold face and walked past them. And Robert sighed, like always. Johnson hated his dad and stepmom. He got a belief that because of them, his mom died. Johnson, his dad, and his mom, Cynthia, were a happy family once. But after Jessica got into their lives as Robert's PA, everything turned upside down. Jessica used to be Robert's PA when he was the CEO of Davis Interior Designing Company. Robert and Jessica went to some other country for a business trip, and there they got intimate and took a wrong step, and the result was Martin Davis. Martin was 5 years old when Cynthia got to know about his affair with Jessica. Robert tried his best to keep Jessica and Martin as his secret, but he didn't want to kill his own blood, and somehow Cynthia got to know about it. But she didn't leave him nor divorced him. She took Jessica and Martin to her house. Her heart broke into pieces knowing about Robert's affair, but she was one of the strongest women and gave all the love to Martin as she gave to Johnson. Thank you for watching Billionaire's Love on the Best Anime Series channel. Please like and subscribe to watch the next videos. Chapter 6, Davis Mansion. Cynthia looked after Martin like her own son. She made sure that Johnson and Martin were there for each other, in every path of life, without any thought of stepbrother. But unfortunately, after Jessica entered the Davis mansion, everything started changing between Robert and Jessica. They started fighting more often, and eventually, Cynthia went into depression and committed suicide. Johnson saw his mom suffering every day. She acted happy in front of everyone. But Johnson and Martin knew that she wasn't happy anymore. After Cynthia committed suicide, Johnson stopped talking to his dad and stepmom and blamed them for his mom's death. He hated seeing their faces every day. But Jessica tried talking with Johnson after his mom's death. She tried giving him a mother's love and affection, but Johnson shouted at her whenever she came in front of him or tried to talk with him. Johnson had a thought that, if Jessica hadn't come into their life, his mother would have been alive. Smiling and giggling, spreading her happy vibes around him. He promised himself that he would never forgive them for what they did to his mom. Jessica's heart broke whenever Johnson looked at her, grimacing as if she was the murderer of his mom. Jessica wanted Johnson to be happy, and she was ready to ask for forgiveness for what she did to Davis's family, but he never wanted to see her face. She wanted to hug him and fade away all his pain and loss. She wanted to give him the same love that his mom would have given when alive. Even though she was the stepmother of Johnson, she treated him like her own son. She wanted to show him how much she loved him and cared for him, but even though Johnson yelled at her every single day, she tried her best to control the situation. But it put no effect on Johnson. For him, she just acted being a good mom every day. Jessica accepted his punishment of not sharing a word with her. Jessica's felt devastated when Johnson growled at her. She cried. She cried alone in her room, knowing that she committed a big mistake in her life by breaking an innocent's heart, and the main thing was she didn't even know how to fix these things up. But, she was happy for what Johnson was today and was proud of his achievements. To say the real thing, Jessica loved Johnson more than her own son. Or maybe she was living in a pang of guilt. Robert Davis was one of the most influential people in the world. He loved his wife, Cynthia, a lot. But, it was a drunken mistake that led to Jessica's pregnancy. And Robert didn't have the heart to kill his child. But, he didn't regret Martin ever in his life. Robert and Cynthia had an arranged marriage. But they loved each other more than anything. But it hurt him and broke his heart into pieces seeing Cynthia in pain, but he couldn't do anything at that moment. Cynthia kept herself away from Robert after Jessica entered into their lives. Even though Jessica came into his life, he still loved Cynthia. Robert always had a special place for Cynthia in his heart, for then and forever. He wanted his son, Johnson, to share everything with him and spend some time with him. Like the other parents did. But it seemed like it never gonna happen. Robert wanted to ask for forgiveness and wanted to explain his helplessness to Johnson. But in these 11 years, Johnson didn't give a single chance to Robert or Jessica for an explanation. After a year of Cynthia's death, Robert married Jessica, even though he loved Cynthia. But just for his sons, he had to. He didn't want Johnson to live without a mother, and nor wanted anyone to call Martin an illegitimate child. Johnson and Martin were stepbrothers, but they both didn't ever feel like stepbrothers. They both shared a beautiful bond like the real brothers. There were no secrets between them and shared everything with each other. They loved each other very much. "Oh, my lion is here." Marina, the head servant of the mansion, who was in her mid-50s, welcomed him as soon as she saw Johnson heading to the dining room. "Good morning, Marina," Johnson wished her, and he kissed on her cheek. "Good morning, John. Are you ready for your work?" Marina asked. "Yes." Johnson replied with a big smile, and Marina smiled back. "Sit down, I will serve your breakfast," Marina said, and Johnson nodded and sat on the dining chair. Then Marina served Johnson his breakfast. Just then, Robert and Jessica walked inside the dining room and sat beside Johnson, but Johnson ignored them. He started having his breakfast, and Marina served Robert and Jessica their breakfast too. "You have your breakfast. I would bring you your juice," Marina said, and Johnson nodded with a smile, and Marina disappeared into the kitchen. Marina was the one who looked after Johnson after Cynthia died and gave him the strength to stand on his feet. Cynthia and Marina were close to each other. Marina was everything to Johnson. She loved him and he loved her too. Johnson. Robert wanted his attention. "Yes?" Johnson replied without looking at him. "Congratulations," Robert tried to initiate a conversation. "Why?" Johnson asked reluctantly, and Robert raised his eyebrows. "You got an award," Robert uttered, but it was like more of a question. "It was not my award. It was for the company," Johnson replied with an ignoring tone. "But, it's all your hard work," Robert showed his compassion for him, and Johnson sighed. "Nope, it's everyone's hard work, who worked in my company," Johnson said hesitantly, and Robert just nodded. "And, I know why you didn't come to the award function night last night. You wanted me to take that award on your behalf, as your son, right?" Johnson spoke in a very rude tone. "Johnson." Robert uttered sternly. "You are the chairman of the company and the award is yours. I would never steal or cheat on someone's award," Johnson taunted while looking at Jessica, and she lowered her eyes. "It's your company too, damn it," Robert shouted, and Johnson chuckled weirdly. Then, write the company on my name, Johnson commented on his statement. I would certainly, but for that, you need to get married first, Robert lowered his pitch. I would for sure, but no girl would marry me. I just don't want to make a mistake. Johnson made a statement by focusing on the word mistake. Johnson. Marina yelled at Johnson from the back, and he looked at Marina. I don't want this to repeat, Marina said. But. Johnson tried to argue. I said, I don't want this topic to be repeated, Marina replied sternly. Okay, Johnson replied, lowering down his voice. Come home early today. Ashley wants to meet you. Marina changed the topic, and Johnson nodded. He got up from the chair and walked out of the mansion. He got into his car and the driver drove him off for the company. For then, he stopped talking about that matter, but Johnson knew that he had to face them one day. Chapter 7, Davis Interior Designing Company. Johnson got out of the car and walked inside with a ruthless attitude, and his PA Mia Collins ran towards him and wished him. Good morning, Mr. Davis, Mia said. Johnson nodded and they both walked inside the private elevator and Mia pressed the 60th button floor, which is also the top floor of the company. Schedule? Asked Johnson. Yes, Mr. Davis, Mia said and opened the iPad and started telling him his schedule for the day, and they reached the floor and walked out of the elevator and went to Johnson's office. Okay, confirm those 2 meetings, Johnson said and Mia nodded. And Mr. Davis. You have a lunch meeting with your brother Martin Davis. Mia said.
Yeah.
I remember. Johnson replied. I already reserved the table in Caffeine by Amaxi Hotels, Mr. Davis. Mia said. Okay. Johnson replied. Mr. Davis, I got a call from the manager of Caffeine by Amaxi saying that his founder rejected our invitation to the party tomorrow, Mia said, and Johnson looked up at her from his laptop. What? Johnson asked. Yes, Mr. Davis. The founder of Caffeine by Amaxi rejected our invitation. Mia said and Johnson chuckled. Someone also has a dare to reject Davis's invitation, wow. Johnson said with a smile. Did you get any information about the founder? Johnson asked Mia. Not much, Mr. Davis, but we got to know that Caffeine by Amaxi Hotels and Resorts founder is a woman, Mia said. A woman? Johnson asked. Yes, Mr. Davis, Mia said. Well, I'm impressed. A woman is running the whole empire of Caffeine by Amaxi, great. Johnson said with a smile. We tried our best to find information about her, but her employees are so loyal to her, Mia said, and Johnson shook his head. They are loyal because they know the consequences they will face if they leak anything about her, Johnson said with a smile, and he didn't know why that smile was not leaving his face. Mr. Davis, your board meeting gonna start in 5 minutes. Mia said.
Yeah.
Let's go, Johnson said and got up from his leather chair and walked out of his office. Mia has worked near Johnson for 2 years and one of a beautiful and an girl. Every girl who was a PA of Johnson before were all tried to flirt and make a move on him. But Mia didn't ever do anything like that. Johnson walked into the conference room and the director and shareholder got up from their seats. Johnson saw his dad Robert sitting on one of the head chairs and he walked over to another head chair opposite to his dad and sat on the chair. Start, Johnson said and Robert nodded and the directors started talking. First of all, congratulations to us. We won the Best Interior Designing Company award in over all the world. One of the shareholders said and everyone clapped their hands with a smile. Let's get into the work now. Johnson said sternly and everyone's face falls down and the shareholder nodded. Caffeine by Amaxi Hotel and Resort. Caffeine by Amaxi is a brand in overall the world. The shareholder said. Why are you talking about Amaxi? Johnson asked. I'm getting to the point, Mr. Davis. The shareholder said and Johnson nodded. We got the information that Caffeine by Amaxi founder wants to renovate hotels. The shareholder said. Where did you get this information from, Mr. Collins? Johnson asked. I know the architecture company who is working with Caffeine by a Maxi, Mr. Davis. The shareholder said. So? Robert asked. Caffeine by a Maxi is planning to keep the tender for the interior companies. If we get that tender to our company, then we will not have any stopping point. The shareholder said. And for that, we want Mr. Johnson Davis to go and meet Caffeine by a Maxi hire personally. The other shareholder said, and Johnson raised his eyebrows at him. Why? Johnson asked. Mr. Davis, look. Caffeine by a Maxi hotels and resorts shares increased and every interior company wants to grab this chance, then why not us? The shareholder said. Do you all know why she is keeping this tender? Robert asked. She? The shareholder asked and Robert's eyes widened but covered it, but unfortunately, Johnson saw him. Who is she? The shareholder asked. I mean, the founder of Caffeine by a Maxi. Robert said. No, Mr. Davis. But, is the founder of Caffeine by a Maxi a woman? The shareholder asked. I don't know, Mr. Collins. It just got out of my mouth. Robert said, and Mr. Collins nodded. Robert looked at Johnson and he raised his eyebrows at him, but Robert averted his eyes and looked at the other side. Oh, okay. Said Mr. Collins. She is keeping this tender for new talents. The other shareholder said. Then, our company has talent too. Let's play fair and get this tender. Johnson said. But, with our influence, we can have this tender easily. The shareholder said. No, like Johnson said. We will play fair. Robert said with a stern voice. Yes, Mr. Davis. Everyone said. Is there still anything that we need to discuss? Robert asked. No, Mr. Davis. Mr. Collins said. Meeting adjourned, Robert said, and everyone got up and walked out of the conference room. Robert looked at Johnson and he looked at Robert. Aren't you going? Robert asked Johnson. You know her, don't you? Johnson asked. Who? Robert asked. Founder of Caffeine by a Maxi, Johnson replied. Robert shuddered. You know her or not? Johnson asked. Yes, but I didn't meet with her until now. I just know her name. Robert replied. What is her name? Johnson asked. Samantha, Robert replied. Samantha. The name rolled out from Johnson's mouth beautiful and he smiled. Full name? Johnson asked. Johnson, listen. I can't tell you everything. Robert said. Why? Johnson asked. Please, Johnson. Understand me for God's sake. Robert said and Johnson signed. Okay, fine. Just tell me, she isn't anything to you, right? Johnson asked. What do you mean, Johnson? She is like a daughter to me. Robert shouted. Daughter? Johnson asked. You know her personally? Johnson asked.
Yeah.
Robert said. Wow. Johnson said and gave a last glare to him and started walking out of the conference room. Wait. Robert said and Johnson turned back. Lucy and Damon miss you so much. Can you visit them? Robert asked. Yes, I will talk to Aunt Lucy, Johnson said and walked out of the conference room and went to his office. He grabbed his phone and dialed Aunt Lucy and she answered the phone in 4 rings. Hello, my handsome son. Lucy said on the phone. Hello, Aunt Lucy. I'm sorry I was busy these days. So, I didn't get the time to contact you. Johnson said. No problem, Johnson. When are you coming to visit us? Lucy asked. Aunt Lucy. Lucy cut off Johnson in mid-sentence and said. I don't want any excuses. I want you and Martin here next weekend. I will introduce you both to our other family friends. Lucy said. Sure, Aunt Lucy. See you and love you and miss you. Johnson said with a smile. Miss you and love you too.
Bye.
Lucy said, and Johnson ended the call with a big smile. Lucy and Damon are the friends of Cynthia from their high school. They know everything about Davis. Lucy is a gynecologist and owns multi-specialty hospitals around the world, and Damon owns a law firm. Lucy and Damon don't have any children. Lucy looked at Johnson as her son after Cynthia's death. She gave the same love to Johnson and Martin as Cynthia did. They both only wished Johnson and Martin to be settled down with a nice girl in the future. Thank you for watching Billionaire's Love on the Best Anime Series channel. Please like and subscribe to watch the next videos.